Welcome to my series on full timing, where I try to get you on the road. Last week we talked about getting healthy, joining a gym, eating better, and doing things like that to help our health. And this week we're going to be talking about purging your items, getting rid of stuff, and downsizing. Whether you are going into an RV full time and you're just going to get rid of everything, or you're going to go into an RV and just put your stuff in storage because you have ultimately plans to get a home or a tiny home or a piece of land. Whatever the case is, pretty much you're going to have to do the same things no matter which one you choose. It's just going to be a little bit different. Some of you are going to be full-timing in the next couple of years, so this is something you can start working on now, and it's a lot easier if you're going to be working on this stuff now and not waiting till like the last minute or whatever to do it, because you can actually do this in different steps, and it can be a transitional thing for some of us, because like for someone like me, it's very difficult to let go of my stuff just like that. So for some of us, it is a transition. We have to prepare our minds for this, and we also have to stop buying stuff and putting our mindset in the fact that all of these things just contribute to more clutter, more chaos, and more money that's being spent that we could be using it to spend on something else. So we're going to be starting this week with our clothes. The first thing that I want you to do is this week is start looking at your clothes and seeing what are the items that you don't wear anymore. Some of you have gone up in size, have gone down in size, or you just frankly just don't wear certain things anymore, like corporate clothes, high heels. Maybe you're in a different environment now where you are not in a cold environment and you moved down south, or you are planning on purchasing a property down south and you don't need so many cold weather clothing or hot weather clothing. I'm not sure what your situation is. But if you are going to be traveling, you do want to have some pieces for four-season traveling, but perhaps you don't need as much seasonal wear as you do. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start looking at our clothes and go in the closet and see what you need, what you don't need. Take things out. You can donate them. You can give them away. Put them in a bag. For the thrift store, you can put them on Craigslist. If you have more expensive bags or things like that, you can probably get away with selling them. I wouldn't bother too much on the clothes. I know there's consignment stores. If you have good quality name brand items, you might be able to get some cash for your clothes if you take them to a consignment store, just like handbags and things like that. So look into options like that, because that's another way to make money with a lot of your items. If you have time to do this, then certainly that might be the way that you go, and you can start a little fund with all the things that you're selling just for your RV or for things that you have to buy for your RV. That's the first step, is the clothing. I think it's the easiest to kind of get your feet wet into it and start to transition into this. You're going to want to have a 3-pile system where you know you're going to throw this out. Automatically you pull it out, you say this is the one, I'm throwing this out, and then have another one where it's like, oh, I'm not sure about this, so have a pile for that. And then the other pile is the definite, this is what I want, and I'm going to keep that pile. And you can keep doing this every month or every 2 months or every 3 months. Make a note, set a reminder on your phone if you're going to be transitioning in the future and you don't need to do all of this at once. Start doing this. Maybe you want to put something on your clothing or put certain shirts away this week and say, okay, if I don't wear this stuff this week, it's going next month in my pile. You can put little bread tags on your hangers for the items that you're always wearing. And if you didn't, if at the end of the month, if you don't have one of those little bread tags on your hanger, that means you wore it, and you can reassess whether you're going to keep this item or not. Because frankly, if you didn't wear it the whole month, you might not even need that item anymore. Now, if it's seasonal, you might want to go through your items and see what are the items that are seasonal. So in other words, if I'm leaving in a year and I'm planning on leaving in my RV during the summertime, well, what am I going to use this coming winter? Is there enough items? And maybe there's some items that I can get rid of. So pack your stuff accordingly. Like for me, I packed my winter clothes because I wasn't going to be traveling in my RV during the winter time. At least I didn't think so. So I was able to box those things up right away. So that's what you're going to be doing with your items this week. And then you're also going to be starting to put your mind into the items that you have in the house. If you have items that you know for a fact that you're not going to be keeping, that you don't need, there's a lot of us who upgrade our electronics, and I know that you got to have a drawer somewhere full of electronics, of things that you're just not going to use anymore. Then get those out. Let's get them sold on eBay. There's people in third world countries and other countries that purchase that kind of stuff. Sometimes they purchase for parts. You might be able to get a couple of dollars for that. So you can go ahead and start that little fund where all this money that's coming in from these items that you're selling will go towards your RV or for buying some stuff for your RV. So that's another way to make some money as well. Start looking around the house and thinking, well, is this stuff that I can give away? You know, so-and-so like this vase, so-and-so like this painting. Let me call them up and see if they want them, because I can go ahead and give it away to them. Another thing you can do is just donate a lot of stuff that you're not using, things that are extra clutter, extra things that you don't need anymore. Remember that in your kitchen there are going to be items that you are going to be using in the RV. So if you have double of those, you can actually use them, put them to the side, box them up, and say, well, this stuff is going to be for my RV, and I'm going to keep those here because they're extra items that I need. Because remember, we're going to go through a phase with the RV that we're going to be practicing and getting out there and trying this before we actually head out on the road. So it's always good if you have extra items of things, put them to the side, because that way you don't have to be bringing them and unpacking and bringing them in and bringing them out. You already have them in the RV. You can donate those later on with the things that you have in the house as doubles. Look at your food items. I know a lot of you were prepping and you were storing stuff, and a lot of you have buckets of food. You keep a lot of dry goods that you haven't been using. I want you to start looking at that stuff and saying, you know what, I got to consume this stuff or I got to give it away. So if you still have a year to go, start consuming all this stuff, and the extra money that you're saving every week from your grocery list, let's put a couple of dollars away. So in other words, if I have 50-pound bags of beans that I saved up, you know, for a storm or whatever it is, or catastrophes that I keep in my house, well, instead of buying the cans, which are $1.50 to $1, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my beans this week, and I'm going to start using up the beans. And every week I'm going to promise from my grocery fund I'm going to take $1 to $2 because I didn't buy beans that week in the can, and I'm going to put them in my RV fund. So at the end of this whole thing, you'll have some money in your RV fund that it could be to buy either hoses or just money that you can use on a trip or for your practice runs down the road. We already talked about packing the essentials in the RV of things that you have around the house that you know are going to be for the RV. Let's put those in a box until we get the RV. You could have extra hoses that you need for the RV, or any other things, or things that people give you for your RV. Start putting them in a box and keeping them in a box somewhere. Those are stored up, and make sure you're labeled RV. Now, the next big thing that we have for downsizing is paper, because paper really does consume a lot of our life. Documents consume a lot of our life, and a lot of us either run businesses or we still have to have receipts for taxes and things like that. So one of the things I want you to think about this week is going paperless. If you haven't gone paperless yet, you need to start thinking about that, because that's the ideal way to handle your affairs on the road, is to be paperless. So think about getting a scanner. There's a lot of different scanners out there. There's the Neat Receipts scanner for receipts and business papers. There's wand scanners that you can purchase where you can actually just scan everything with your hand. It's like a wand. You can do papers or scrapbooks or albums with that. There's also photo scanners. If you have a lot of pictures, you should also get those scanned as well. And these are things that you can start working on in the next few months, purging the clothes, working on the food, and doing the scanning. And the scanning is really easy because you can even do that while you watch TV, while you're watching a movie at home. You can multitask with other things and start getting caught up with things like that. Think about a backup for this particular service, because you can either go with a cloud service or you can go with a like a terabyte backup drive. So look into that, because that's also going to be an essential thing that you're going to need on the road. As long as you're going to be putting files and papers and stuff, you should have some type of a backup system that you can put that stuff on. So there's definitely a lot of cloud services out there now. There's Google, there's Apple, and Amazon has some. So those things are things that you should be researching also right now to go paperless and put your stuff on there. I want you also to start looking at self-storage units. I know a lot of you are thinking about getting a storage unit because you don't want to get rid of all your stuff at once, and you're thinking of, well, I want to keep some things in case I don't want to go full-time, or I'm planning on eventually getting a tiny house or something like that. So you're going to need some type of a storage unit. You could purchase a shed and put it on somebody's property, a family member, and let them keep it at the end, because that's going to save you a lot of money versus a storage facility. I mean, if they're like $2,000 and you're going to be on the road for 5 years or something like that, well, it may just make it a point to buy one of those and have it put on somebody's property, and they can just store the stuff for you. Or let me just show you that I had a CubeSmart when I went on the road, and I paid a lot of money for my CubeSmart. And I want you to do this now, because when I didn't know I was going to be doing this. Honestly, I thought I was going to buy a house and I was going to move into a house. And it was only when I got the RV and then I realized I was closing on the house that I really had waited till the last minute to find a storage facility. And I picked this one because I was did not research this in time. But they'll get you at the end. And I really want you to do that now, because you need to start evaluating your stuff when you're purging and say, this is going to cost me money. If I get a bigger facility, storage, it's going to cost me more money. Is this item really worth to keep? Because it's going to cost me more the bigger the facility. I paid $282.76 was what I paid on my storage facility. That's how big my storage facility is. And I paid that monthly for 6 months. In addition to that, there's also insurance. And this particular one, I had to pay, and was covered up to $5,000. And then anything above that, you have to pay extra for. Like, they have different tiers. They have the $2,000 tier. It's $10 a month, $3,000. So in addition to the $5,000, I was going to get this additional amount. So I opted for the additional $5,000. So that's why my bill was $286 a month, because now I was paying an additional $22 a month for $10,000 worth of insurance on my stuff. So keep that in mind. Go out there and shop around. Go into the places and ask or see if they have online the rental agreements. A lot of rental agreements for these storage facilities have fees, and you want to take note of what the fees are, what the rental agreement includes, how your stuff is protected, and things like that. Also, they have the air-conditioned ones and the not air-conditioned ones. So this is why if you have food, you want to consume your food, because you're going to pay extra for a storage facility that's air-conditioned. And if you're living in hot weather, you don't want to have your food put into storage in buckets and stuff like that, because it's just going to go bad. If you start realizing what the cost of a storage facility is, this is going to help you purge a lot of your stuff that you think that you're going to keep, and then later on you're not going to keep. And I know it happened to me, because I purged a lot of my stuff. I got rid of a lot of my stuff. And I lived on the road for 6 months, and I had no use. And when my stuff came here, I was like, what are in these boxes? Because I had like no idea what was in my boxes. So for the last 6 months, I lived with none of this stuff. None of the stuff I lived with. So I couldn't realize what was in there that I needed. And when I started opening my boxes, I realized, okay, I have this. Okay, I have this. And this was just stuff that I could just, like, you know, put around the house and decorate and stuff with, because I had a house. But I was like, you know, none of the stuff that I had, I need to survive with. And that's the way my life is now, because when I go out in my RV, everything that I need in life to survive with is in there. I got clothes, I got food, I got my basic essentials, I got any important papers, I got my backups in there, I got my, you know, all my stuff, and I got my stuff on the backups, I got photos on the backups. So if something were to happen here when I was traveling, it's not like I'm hopeless, because I still have my home on the road. I could still come back and rebuild my house and be living very comfortably in my RV. That's just the way that it is. And that's the way that my life is right now. Because yes, I do have the home and I do like living here, but I don't need to have this place. And everything in it, I know I don't need. So keep that in mind when you're out there purging your stuff and keeping your stuff, or saying, do I keep this? Do I keep that? You know what? It's going to cost you money, whether it's in movers to move it from your location to the facility. That's going to cost you money, whether you have to rent a truck or whatever to get it stuff, or the amount of trips that you have to take in gasoline to get all your stuff there. Number two, it's also going to cost you money if you have to pay movers to move your stuff to the facility and get it inside there, and then also to take it out of there, it's going to cost money. So you want to definitely make good decisions about what you're going to do with your stuff. Do you need it? Can you just get rid of it? Can you sell it? Take your time to do this stuff. A lot of people wait till the last minute and then they just give everything away. But if you put an ad in the paper, you can do an open house and you can sell a lot of your stuff with time and start creating a fund for your RV and for your travels with all of this. If you do things in times and you're organized and work on something towards your goal every single week, every single month, go back through these steps that I put in my mind map. Yes, you can purge now. Do it again next month. Go through the whole system again next month and do the purging again in your closet and see what are the things that now you can get rid of. Get into this stage where you can start purging a little bit more things, because now you know what the cost is of storage, and the more stuff you keep that you're going to keep in the RV, then the bigger RV that you need, and maybe you don't need all of this stuff. So keep that in mind for the next time. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and stay tuned next week when I bring you part 3 of my series, when we're going to actually talk about the RV and the different types of RVs and finding the perfect RV. So hope to see you next week. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.